here in the back shop area, and we got some of the guys from Russ Wernimont Designs down here with some of their suspension. We got Carson and Jared down here, and we're unboxing the suspension, and they're going to kind of show us some of the details on their shock that they have for the touring bikes. We're putting the shocks on a 2019 Street Glide Special. And you know, here at Laidlaw's, we're always looking for the best ride comfort, and we're always trying to up our game on the shocks. I'm a tall guy, and so having the low seat heights and the stock shocks really deliver a low seat height, which isn't really necessary for all people. And for a lot of guys, they want the most comfort possible. And so we've heard a lot of really good things about these shocks. And you know, Russ Wernimont, he puts out a really good product. He's known for his racing suspension and Baja stuff. So yeah, we're going to check out their shock right now, and Carson's going to kind of give us the details on this shock a little bit.
What we got going here with these shocks is we've got a high and low speed compression adjuster. The low speed compression adjuster is this black knob here, and that's what you're going to adjust 99.9% of the time when you're riding your bike. The high speed, we designed that more for like racers and flat track guys, which use this exact shock on their bikes as well. But you're never going to adjust that down the street. It's got detents that you can feel the clicks. It's got 15 clicks total. So you got a super wide range of adjustment. You can make the shock do whatever you want, from hardtail to complete grandma's Cadillac riding down the road, going to the grocery store. So yeah, and then Eibach makes our springs. Super high quality race spring. It shows you how to set your sag in the instructions. We run a little more sag than most people because of our features of the internal bypass. And what that means is that it's got a bump zone in the top of the shock. So where you're riding where your piston's riding, once the shock sags a little bit, is a lot softer zone than the top of the shock actually. And what that does is when you're riding down the road, you can let the shock be nice and soft. But when you do hit a big bump and the piston goes towards the top of the can, it gets a lot stiffer and has an anti-bottoming device. And one of the cooler features is that actually works on the rebound side as well. So when the spring compresses and you got all that spring rate just built up, normally that spring rate just wants to unwind and buck you over the handlebars. But the top of the shock is so much stiffer that it has all that spring rate built up, it actually hangs the piston for a little bit and controls the rebound until it gets off of that bump zone, and then it lets it come back out. So that's technology we brought from the off-road side, so that's what makes trophy trucks fly across the desert doing 150. So not a lot of people know, they just think that we're Harley builders and we made a lot of sheet metal and custom bikes over the years. The whole entire background, my dad used to build trophy trucks, actually built the first 3 of them. Robbie Gordon, Rob McCachran, all drove for my dad. A lot of people are familiar with the Mickey Thompson Stadium series, like he built all the Ford trucks. Through racing, you meet a lot of cool people over the years. One of the friends through my dad was Walker Evans and Randy Anderson. We partnered, and it just made too much sense to partner with them and bring a awesome shock to the Harley market. Yeah, like I said, something that just made a lot of sense and something that needed to be done, so we did it, and think the end product everyone's really happy with, and we're proud of it and can sleep at night at the end of the day. So.
So you got a little bracket there that kind of changes the position of the shock a little bit to make everything fit.
Right. So we got the spherical bearings on the end, so the shock can actually rotate. So we just put a little tab there to rotate the reservoirs in, so that when the shock goes up, it doesn't actually hit the bag.
Talk us through like how to set like the compression preload, all that stuff.
Yeah, so when you get your shock, the spring will be already preset for whatever shock you bought as far as standard or HD package. So if you're kind of in the riding window of around 170 to 200, 210, 220, I would just hop on the bike and ride it as is.
On the standard one?
On the standard one? Correct. And we set our clickers to where factory setting is as well. So all of our shocks should be very, very close when you get them. And how you'd actually set the sag is you take a tape measure, measure your spring from top of the spring to the bottom of the spring with no rider on the bike, and then have someone sit on the bike so it makes the shock compress a little bit, and then measure the spring again, and the spring should compress anywhere from a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch, and that's our tuning window. I would err on a little more sag than less. Just the more sag will give you a better ride down the road and a better feel. And then our compression adjusters, the red knob is our high-speed adjuster. That's for all the flat track and racing guys. I would not touch that clicker for riding down the road. This black knob here is your low-speed compression adjuster, and that's what you're going to feel when you're actually riding the bike down the street and you're hitting potholes and bumps and everything. We have it set all the way in the soft position. That's where we run the baggers at. If you ride your bike and you think that it's a little too soft and too squishy, you just take this red knob and turn it to the right to stiffen it up, and you could feel the detents and just start closing off the low speed compression. And if you go too far, just turn it back to the left and soften it up. And just find the tuning window for what you like and your riding abilities. If you ride to work every day, you're going to want it really soft. If you carve through the canyons like your Ricky Racer, you might want it a couple clicks stiffer. So it's got the abilities to do whatever you want. How much do you weigh?
I'm about 210, 215. I want to ride it now. So there's a couple tests that I personally like to take shocks through that I'm testing out and trying out for the first time for, you know, really how good they are. And the first one is to take the bike out on the freeway. This is a touring bike after all, and this is kind of what the bike is made for, is high speed mileage out on 4-lane highways. So I took it out, took it up to a high speed, and the 10 freeway right by our dealership is really rough, tons of potholes and just freeway joints. There's a lot of construction going on this freeway right now, so it's perfect to really get a feel for how well the suspension is going to perform in real rough areas, you know, high speed, lots of bumps and things. And I was very, very impressed. You could definitely tell that this shock is designed to soak up big bumps, you know, and really it getting its roots from the off-road world. It kind of gave me that same feeling and sense that I was on like a dirt bike out in the desert with really good suspension on it that was really tuned really well for my weight. When I was riding the bike, I definitely put it on a little bit of the softer side, which isn't going to make the bike perform and handle as well through turns if you're really trying to rip through the turns. But out on the freeway, you which is the majority of my riding, the shocks performed very, very well. And that it basically leads me to my second test. The second test would be taking it through the canyons, which I didn't really get to do that very much, but the freeway on and off ramps, I was able to kind of take it through the turns quickly and see how well it handled. If I was gonna try to dial in the suspension for all arounds to kind of get the best of both worlds through the twisties and also straight line freeway comfort, I'd probably have to dial it up a little bit more. Like I said, I was running it pretty soft this day, but yeah, very, very impressed with how the shocks did out on the highway. And I've ridden a lot of different shocks, and the shocks I have currently are really good, but yeah, these I feel like were the best, just as good, if not better, than any shock I've ever ridden on. So yeah, really happy with the Russ Wernimont shocks. So I get asked a lot of questions about suspension, front and rear, and so I'll just kind of go over some of the most commonly asked questions I get. A lot of people just want to ask me, what's the best suspension, what should I get? And I wish it was as easy as just naming off a brand and type, but there's a lot of factors you have to take into consideration. The other question I get asked a lot is people ask me, why is it you pay so much money for suspension on a Harley Davidson and you're always recommending that we change out the suspension for better stuff? And really, I'll start with that question actually. The suspension on a Harley Davidson stock, like Street Glide Special we'll take for example, is not bad stuff. It's actually really good. It's actually come a long way. You've got a coilover gas emulsion, hand adjustable knob for the preload, and it's pretty dang good. Where the Harley Davidson suspension suffers is when the roads are really rough, and in LA, unfortunately, like LA County, the roads are in pretty bad disrepair. You could probably go to like a newer area where the streets are newer and do just fine with the stock suspension. The other thing that Harley Davidson is constantly having to juggle is seat height. Harley Davidson wants to be able to sell these motorcycles to as many people as possible, and they don't want to alienate a large potential buyer pool by making the bikes too high. That and the Street Glide and the Road Glide specials, and the regular Street Glide and Road Glide for that matter, have a slammed profile with the longer fender in the rear, and they just kind of go for that lowered profile look. So it's both getting a low seat height, so it opens up their buyer pool to more people, and also getting that look of like that custom bagger from the factory. So trying to achieve that while still maintaining a comfortable ride. And I'd say the majority of people who buy these baggers, buy touring bikes, will probably be pretty happy for the most part with the ride comfort on their bike, especially the younger guys. I get a lot of questions just from the 40 plus people out there that really want the best ride comfort possible, especially like in LA or wherever else that has rough roads. My recommendation is if you fit that category of people who have ridden the stock suspension and you want new or better suspension that's going to be more of a plush ride, then yes, consider upgrading the shocks. And if you're tall enough, you have the inseam to spare, if you're 5'11", 5'10", 5'11 plus, then by all means go to a 13-inch shock and get a taller shock. For people that don't want to break the bank and want to get a significantly better ride comfort by just changing the rear shocks, not messing with the front forks, then I would say get these Russ Wernimonts all day long. You'll be really happy with it. You are going to raise your seat height a little bit, but that's giving you more available travel in the suspension, which there's really no replacement for travel in the suspension. So I want to invite everybody down to Laidlaw's Harley Davidson to try out these Russ Wernimont rear shocks in person for yourselves. We have this 2019 Street Glide Special on the floor right now. It's one of our designated demo bikes. So if you're interested, come on down. We'll take you out on our demo ride and you can feel them for yourself. And if you're interested, we can install a pair on your bike for you. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. I always appreciate it. If I was able to help you out, or if you enjoyed the video, give me a big thumbs up and hit that like button. If you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button and subscribe to my channel for future Harley Davidson content, my videos coming out in the future. If you want to see any particular video or you want to give me a recommendation, please feel free to give me a request in the comment section of a video you'd like to see, maybe a topic that you'd like to see me cover, or a specific bike or product that you'd like to see me cover. And if I get enough votes on that, then I'll be sure to cover that and knock it out. Thanks a lot, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.